We like to say every day is a vacay. Welcome to the Vacay Podcast. Joined by Chris Hansen and Miami, my friend and co-host. I'm Ryan Alford, your co-host on your wellness journey. There is no alternative when we're making alternative wellness the mainstream. And to that end, pumped to have today Dan Mezheritsky. He's the founder of Fitness on the Go, and he's looking pretty swole there in my camera lens. So he must be getting high on his own supply. What's up, Dan?
How are you?
Good, man. You look good. I love it.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes people, are pushing something or they're selling something, they're doing something, and it's like it doesn't like align with kind of like the mental picture. But dude, you look great. I've been pumped with the stuff Chris has been telling me about you, and I'm ready to talk tea and fitness and sexual health and whatever the hell else you want to drop on us. We'd love it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, thanks for having me. And I haven't had my workout today. It's on the West Coast, so just getting up. But thanks so much. Yeah,
man, that's cool. I know you're around the LA. We got all the corners. We got LA. We got Miami. All the hot spots covered on the podcast today. Dan, let's just start down entrepreneurial journey. I know you're a world traveler, Japan last week, India next week possibly. But let's just give everybody a little bit of your background, Dan.
Sure. So I started off as a track athlete. So that was my main goal. From 13, I kind of quit all the other sports and went into track and field. Made the national team, was the junior national champion for Canada in decathlon, and then continued on. Unfortunately, at age 20, I had a pretty big injury. I did make two national teams for the Junior Pan Ams and North American and Caribbean Championships, but that ended fairly early. I was a very fit guy, and so it was just a very simple and easy transition to move into personal training. But I knew that after a couple of months, I'm like, this is not going to be what I'm doing. But I loved being able to provide that for people. So I quickly started building a company. By 23, I had about 50 personal trainers that were working for me, but I had no clue how to build a business. I wasn't really making money. It just, I was spinning my wheels. So then I took some time, met with the right people, and learned about franchising, licensing. And at 28, I restarted the same business, Fitness on the Go, but with a new model. And within 2.5 years, built it up to about 200 trainers and 32 franchise partners. And during that time, I actually made money. So that was
always a positive in business.
Yeah, I mean it took a solid 10 years to be that overnight success, and that's what's interesting, right? Is that it's just that right shift, and then things go, and then at age 31, I decided to just shift gears. I never really explored the world being a track athlete and being so focused, and then being an entrepreneur and being so focused. I never lived life in a different fashion. So I wanted to go and travel and see what a different life would be like. And that was pretty much now throughout my entire 30s. I've really been able to explore other facets of life and enjoy. So I did end up selling the business as a master franchise. So I still own it, but I have somebody that operates it, and it's still operating at a fine level. So I can't complain.
Nice. I mean, that's when awesome. I hear fitness, I mean, it's a lot to unpack there, but I kind of want to go right at it, like just for our audience to understand. When you hear Fitness on the Go, I guess I naturally think, fitness brought to you or done wherever you are. But we talked about the concept of the business exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So it's in-home personal training. So that's, trainers do go to people's homes. Um, the, the primary, I can explain the problem that I had. The struggle was that the trainers, they're meeting with the clients and the company's not present, right? It's the trainer and the customer. If the customer is paying even $60 and we're paying the trainer 30, there's a pretty good gap between. And soon enough, when the customer befriends the trainer or vice versa, there's going to be a conversation, right? It's like, hey, well, why not? I pay you $45 and, you make a little bit more. I like you more than I like the company. So this way they would arrange that side deal. I'm sure, we've all potentially done that with our cleaner or any other type of service, right? And so that's where what I understood is I needed to kind of flip the model and say, okay, well, if these trainers want to be entrepreneurial, cool, let's give them an opportunity to be. And so that's where all that I did is I brought the real estate business model to personal training. So realtors are their own business. They work with a franchise like Remax, and they pay their $500, $600, whatever monthly due to hang their license, and then they operate their business and make whatever they make. So that's exactly what I did. The trainers pay $400 a month, and they get the full back-end business for them, which would cost them, far more, along with all the bells and whistles of having a multi-million-dollar system behind them, along with obviously our marketing arms, and then they're making what the customers are paying.
So can they charge what they want?
No, we set the fees.
Okay.
But still it's a when the trainers are making on average at a gym $20,000 a year, working full time, which I'm kind of still appalled that people still do that. And our trainers, top trainers, are making $85,000 a year. So it's a much better opportunity for them. Obviously, they do need to be somewhat entrepreneurial and have that foresight or confidence, let's say, in themselves to put out $400 a month and then start going. But obviously, those people get rewarded.
Nice, that's cool. Is it primarily out of Canada, or do you have trainers like everywhere?
Yeah. No, it's primarily Canada, but right now, actually, the person that's operating it is going to start moving into the States. I find that the right now is actually the right time when people are things are going to be a little bit dead. I think in the economy for the next little while. We'll see how long that lasts. But that's when people are looking for more opportunities, and when things aren't handed to them, then they're kind of forced to figure things out on their own.
Yep. That's cool, man. It's interesting. Did you, when in handing over kind of like the master licensing, it sounds like you figured out like what you do well, don't do well, like, or is it just like you didn't really want to operate the business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm far more excited with new.
Yeah.
I also, I understand that. My strength was definitely with ideas and execution and sales. The ongoing relationships with people, and that's probably what I needed personally as well to learn. And that's kind of the next thing that I'm doing, but though that wasn't that strong. And I also knew that a female would do far better at that than a male. So that's where I was very fortunate that I've got an amazing, female operator, and she's, doing exactly what she needs to do to run the business well.
That's great. What formalized for you, like maybe like some of your, like what your fitness wellness routines, like where did that get grounded in? Was it curiosity and education, or was there like, some amount of, nature versus nurture? And you were always athletic, but I don't know what kind of formed your opinions and approaches to fitness.
Yeah, well, I mean, that I think I almost didn't have a choice. It was like at 5 years old. It was like when I was 4. My mom would be in the kitchen and I would do a full muscle up onto the counter and sit there with her, and she kind of like looks at me like, wow, this kid's strong, and so she's like, I think we got to put you into gymnastics. And so I go and do it, and I loved it, right? Like I'm there doing a ton of chin-ups, and so like I pretty much had abs by age 6, and so I was in gymnastics from 5 until 13, but I went into like competitive gymnastics, and so that was always kind of my life. Then, like I said, a little bit of sports, basketball, rugby, but then track and field kind of prevailed. And so that kind of, I think, just set the tone of my life. But obviously, because I'm so interested in it now, I want to, optimize my fitness as much as possible. But all of the things that have become kind of mainstream now with like sauna and cold plunge and eating healthy and fasting and so on. This is the stuff that we were taught as high performance athletes 20 years ago. So I'm glad that now people are understanding the benefits of all this. But yeah, this is something that I've just been exposed to at a young age.
Yeah, coming up through an athlete. That is true. Like, it's funny. I think back to things we did. I played basketball at a high level through college, and there are things now that, I think back to like your time when you're pushing your body maybe more than the average person at a young age. These things are now becoming more mainstay, like sitting in ice baths. Like, it was just ice bath before, but now it's a cold plunge. Some marketers, renamed it to sound sexier. I don't know who would possibly do that, but I mean, I know Chris, you and Dan, met and became acquaintances. So, I mean, I'll let you kind of tee up a few of the topics and things that you guys have talked about in the past.
Yeah. So just for the audience, we met down here in Miami with another friend of ours in the wellness community. And this can kind of lead in, Dan was so kind to share one of his new products he's working on and launching so we sat and sampled this absolutely phenomenal product. I can't wait to get my hands on some. But Dan, if you want to kind of, obviously now we've heard about your journey through fitness and in the business world, you're entrepreneurial. What made you branch into now launching Sacral, and what's your driving force behind that? What are you looking to accomplish with that? What do people need to be excited about?
Yeah, thank you. Sacral is it's an extreme aphrodisiac. There's 6 active supplements in this chai, and so 4 of them are from the Amazon. They're roots that a lot of ancient tribes are still drinking this daily. They think that it's for their virility and vitality, and they're not wrong. The funny thing is that for whatever reason, these supplements have not really been exposed. But through my travels, through meeting a bunch of interesting people, I've always been interested in plants and how plants can affect our mood, how it can affect our body. It's pretty amazing. So the 4, again, if I say them, most likely you guys haven't heard of them, or any listeners haven't heard of them, but maybe. One's called clavohuasca, the other Chichihuasi, Murapuyama, and Katayaba. And so those are four, primarily all roots. One is a bark. And then I added two other aphrodisiacs that are maybe a little bit better known, blue lotus and damiana. And then, so the purpose of it, obviously, it works, and it's not something that is a one-time use, and that type of concept. It's a daily supplement. It's going to make help with vasodilation, help with blood flow, helps with anti-anxiety and stress relief, and so that's why ultimately it really does work as a aphrodisiac. But there's many benefits that come from having that. I see that even just from vasodilation, it's going to increase the amount of oxygen in your blood, which is going to help repair your muscles better and get stronger and so on. But the cool thing of what I wanted to do was this is for men and women. So it's not just a product for men, and I think that the whole aphrodisiac, especially the blue pill, it's kind of like men do this in private, and it's kind of it's a weird thing to me, where it's like if you have this on your table and your partner is also taking it, now you can share a nice cup of chai together, and then move into your sexual practice. So the whole point of this is to bring a ritual to your intimacy, and I find that when you do that, it will really deepen your relationship with them. So not only do we have the chai, but our members get access to rituals. So this way, you can kind of get guidance on some ideas of how you can, start off your practice that will lead to a deeper space.
Wow. Yeah. Question. So I'm hearing a lot of like sexual health benefits, and we talked a little bit pre-episode, like, I guess when I hear aphrodisiac, like, are there actually like the bark or the substances in there making you feel a certain way, like both mind and body? Or because I'm hearing a lot of, like blood circulation, those kind of things that are kind of in that sexual health realm versus sort of, I guess, the tried and true, eating oysters makes you, gear up. But is it working in both directions there?
Yeah, I mean, from oysters, it's just the amount of zinc, and zinc can help testosterone, and potentially oysters help with vasodilation. But ultimately, from a mental standpoint, if you ask me, it's more. I think a lot of people will be in their head because they have some kind of stress around the sexual activity. They're thinking too much, so that's where anti-anxiety a product will help with that, where you can just feel relaxed. In terms of the body, I think that yes, the body will, if it feels good, then everything else kind of relaxes. So that's where clava huasca, that product actually really will just, and it's meant to relax your sacral region and your lower back. When you also relax your muscles, that also will help with blood flow. So I remember the first time, like how this product was even inspired. With my partner from last year, the first time that I took a fair amount of this clava huasca, I felt like I was a tree growing through her, and she felt like she was roots like going into the ground, so and there's no psychoactive properties, and nor were we on any psychoactive drugs at the time.
That's kind of where my head went. A few different places, but
It's a very powerful, and that's where, what, even one of the rituals is kind of like, you're pretending that your roots, and you're reconnecting with your partner. And so, yeah, I think that there is a combination of both, but it's not, if you study aphrodisiacs, it's not like it's something that just like turns on, and it's definitely not like an MDMA, let's say, that you're going to feel something that's a lot more than what it is. Maybe you'll be 10% more sensitive because there's more blood flow in that region. It's definitely not something like I said, like an MDMA or a different substance.
Yeah. That's fascinating. The the tree analogy was definitely a good one.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I had never started to describe that way, but it's like, okay, yeah.
It painted a very clear picture.
Yeah, it sounds like I got to send you some.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly.
I mean, I love it. I think this is an amazing thing because right now I feel like sex is so desensitized, where it's all physical, where we've lost the emotional, the connection side of it. And that's what I love when you were telling me about this, because ultimately it's to help enhance people's, connection with other people instead of just chasing a physical sensation. It's going for something deeper, which is why I love that you guys have. It's like not just the tea, but here's kind of a guidebook, like Viagra works, right? But it's like, there's nothing beyond that. There's no, you're not addressing probably what is more of a deeper root problem,
right? Which,
like what you said, even performance anxiety. God, I remember, being a 16-year-old and you're like, you don't know shit about shit. And that's a real concern at that age. But I think ultimately you're inspiring human connection on a deeper level, which is admirable.
Yeah, no, I think that's, I'll kind of tell you the pain point. I remember when I was even 28 and being in a relationship for 3 years. And after that kind of, 2-3 year mark, you're kind of, you lose that infatuation thing. And unless you actually know how to move into different spaces and deeper spaces with your partner, it's the same thing. And that's where, even I have friends that they keep on getting stuck at that, 2 year, 3 year mark with relationships. Because that is right. Like there's evolutionary psychology kind of explains that we're programmed to love for about that time, right? 1.5 to 2.5 years. And that's where I felt that something was wrong with me or wrong with her. And I started to question the relationship, and I had no clue. Truth be told, I probably never stared in her eyes for more than 30 seconds, and especially not during sex. So, to kind of open these other avenues to really understand a person from a deeper level. And I think clearly, sex is the most intimate thing that you can do with anyone else. Then now it kind of opens up a door of extreme exploration that I think is never ending. And so that's where being able to, educate people on these opportunities, hopefully it's going to, not only, deepen relationships, but make them last.
Right.
Is, it's interesting, like having, like with your background, like developing a product like this, and then, I mean, you seemingly like new experiences and like to be on the go. I mean, self-proclaimed nomad, so to speak. Like, what's the balance, I mean, for you of finding like solace or home for good versus constant movement? Like, I don't know. Like, I guess it's an interesting complex.
Yeah, no, I mean, right now I'm at that point. I think I'm getting tired of the travel. Like it's fun, and now there's other reasons why I travel as opposed to just going somewhere and exploring. It definitely is now, with a friend or because of friends. But yeah, I am setting up a home base in Costa Rica as of next year. So that's at least going to be the majority of my time, which is going to be 3-4 months in LA. But I think that it's always to have that kind of let's say just fun to just say, hey, let's hop over here for a week. That's never going to die. But having completely no home, I think nine years has been the right number.
I bet. I mean, it's so, I'm both jealous and it makes me anxious for you. Like I guess that's how it is. It's like, man, that sounds awesome.
I'm jealous, but tired.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's exactly what I hear so much, right? Where people kind of try to imagine that, and it's too much. And again, I didn't expect it. It just kind of happened, and it just started rolling. And I grew up in Vancouver. My parents are in Vancouver, so I'd come there every 3-4 months. But I think that you're right, and that's why now I am looking at things of what am I building more substantial and long term. And again, it's essentially, you can say this is a product as a reminder for my entire life to kind of grow my roots and deepen my connection in a community and build that way.
Yeah. Why Costa Rica?
I love it. I mean, every piece of fruit that you eat is the best fruit. Like the soil there is certainly different. The weather is great, especially as a Canadian. I really do not like the cold. So it's great. And then the community that I found there, they actually are building an extreme biohacking center. It's going to be one of the best in the world. And when you get property there, you get access to it. So, I'm lucky enough that I'm staying in LA with a friend, and, he's got his ice bath, which is actually a cold plunge, but don't tell anyone. and then a sauna, and he's got this vibration chair called Shift Wave that I absolutely love. So those things are just so nice to have. It kind of when I start my day with that, it just makes me happy, and especially being able to go and jump in the ocean. So again, this is all lovely here, but yeah, Costa Rica, I've got access to that, along with many other amazing biohacking machinery.
Dan, I'm glad you went there with the biohacking, because I want to talk about, I know you're big on recipes and foods. Well, I'm going to earmark that as well. But maybe for our audience, I mean, you're in shape, you're in a fitness company, you're obviously coming with Sacred and all those things. But maybe what are some of your go-to biohacking secrets that we can share with the audience? Like anything new and exciting, or stuff that you like to test?
Yeah, well, I think that what's an interesting thing that in the last 2 years, because I'm reaching, I'll be 40 next year, and 2 years ago my testosterone level was at 740, and that's decent, but in the last 2 years I've changed that to 1230, and 1230 is almost pushing too high. I'd say 1250 is kind of the maximum that you want to be. Otherwise, it's going to be a little too much. And to make that change, first off, naturally, I'm not using any, testosterone replacement therapy, no injections. And so really it's just through plants. And then, I stopped alcohol. So a lot of people want to know what's my kind of testosterone stack. So I can definitely share that if that's would be of interest.
Let's do it.
For sure.
So definitely there's one product, and this, when women are, it seems like very scared of testosterone, but women need to have, pretty much as high of testosterone as their body naturally can produce, as well, because testosterone is your sex hormone, but it's also, a hormone that gives you inspiration, gives you the desire to do anything. So that I think it's a very important hormone to address with how people feel. Obviously, it seems like there's an extreme epidemic in kids that are 20, even 30, that it's lower than ever before. So in the chai, there's something called Murapuyama that helps, but anything it's proven that is kind of vasodilation and circulation will also promote, increase in testosterone. So I can't say that it's just the chai, but there's one product in there that is for testosterone. The other ones I take, zinc, ashwagandha, Safford muesli. Safford muesli, not many people know. It's kind of known as the Indian Viagra. I would have put it in the chai, but it tastes awful. But so it doesn't quite work. Tonkat Ali is another good one, and so those are kind of the main as my testosterone stack. And then I've helped a lot of guys, especially when they've had under 500. Then I recommend that there's two others that are extremely powerful. I'm waiting. I don't need to yet. So once it starts dropping because of my age, then I'll start introducing these two. It's called Tribulus and Yohimbi. So I remember testing it out, and I it just made me too much. So I think everyone can kind of judge where they're at, but those are all amazing products for testosterone.
Oh wow! And I think
that's awesome.
That is great. And I think I'll put the biggest thing is, I think if you're a man, you need to get tested to know where you stand on these levels. I think a lot of guys think they know what they feel like, but we have all these amazing technology and testing, and it's readily available now, but you got to get tested to know what your levels are, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you even if you take those home tests, it's not bad, right? I mean, it'll be within 10-15%, and you don't need to spend a ton. I think you can buy, a home test on Amazon for $150. I'm lucky because I'm Canadian. I just head up to Canada and do it for free. But on Amazon, I think it's like $150 for a home test.
Right. Yeah.
This is such a relevant topic right now too, and you mentioned it, where we've got a decline in testosterone levels in young men greater, it's like 50% less now than our parents, from what I've read. And people don't take into account how much these hormones involve your day to day, whether it's your drive to start this, or even to find a wife, I would say. I mean, I know I've tried the Tongat Ali, and I did notice a difference when I was taking it, because I had my levels checked. I was low for my age, which I attribute to, the food supply, probably environmental, whatever. Tell me this, with these supplements, because I know I talk to a lot of younger guys in their early 20s, and, with TikTok, all these kids are getting exposed to TRT and Trenbolone, all these hardcore, brain altering compounds. With these natural ones, is there any side effects, for these younger listeners we have? Is it relatively safe? Because I would say I would highly encourage people to explore this before you go, to the guy with a duffel bag in the gym, right?
Yeah. So 100%. I mean, that's where even if someone is at 400, then number one, quit alcohol. right? Like alcohol is just a pointless drug, and it's just deteriorating so many other things. But a big thing is that your testosterone will drop right away. Number two is sleep, right? If you're not sleeping well, then that, and especially if you're not sleeping before midnight, then it'll just decrease immediately. But yeah, these are all essentially adaptogens, right? They're working within your body to optimize its a system. So it's not going to really do anything negative. Your body. There is no real evidence whether or not if you stop it, that it's going to continue. So that's the only negative, is that potentially it's no different than taking TRT, that you're going to be taking this supplement for life. But it's a far better option on your body than taking an outside, essentially chemical or synthetically created testosterone. The reality of taking a synthetically created testosterone, again, there isn't anything too negative about it, and it's an option. Again, the exact same thing. You will be on that. That's for sure, for 100% of your life, if you want to keep it up. And I also think that concept of testosterone for my age, that's got to go out the window, right? Because it's like, if you're 70 years old and your testosterone's at 400, and they say, well, that's good for your age, what's that mean? Right? Like, right. Why wouldn't you want it to be at 1,000, which is what you'd feel like when you were 17? I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be there for my life, because I know how good I feel, and it's not, again, just my desire to have sex. It's my desire to just be alive, right? And my desire to enjoy myself with whatever I'm doing and getting myself busy. And I feel an extreme difference, right? Like 740 to 1250. That's a jump. And I didn't have the inspiration to start a new venture when I was at 740. I just didn't. But now it's like this, and I'm ready to kind of keep going with many other things.
Yeah. I think it's, I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist, but it seems as though the world wants men to be under 400. If I didn't know better, like they docile, accepting, non-aggressive. And I don't mean aggressive in a negative way, but like, but driven and wanting more. And like, I think that's there's something at hand there. On some level, whether intentional and conspiracy driven or just, I don't know what it is, but it feels that way.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. There could be as simple as something in tap water that is doing that. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to know if they're actually causing it to go low, but I don't think. I don't know. I just think what's good for the government is for everyone to be accepting of anything and everything, right? It doesn't mean it's what's good for you. We'll leave it there.
Agreed.
Chris, you have any thoughts on that?
I totally agree with you. Intentional or not, our test levels are dropping, and that's not a good thing. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But I think I'm glad we talked about this, because obviously we do talk predominantly on plant-based wellness, typically more, with the THC and the cannabis and the plant medicines like the ayahuasca. So I think this is a huge topic, though, I know all of these young guys I talk to, this stuff is starting to gain some traction, these natural plant-based testosterone boosters, really. So I'm happy we touched on it with some of the plant-based stuff outside of, the psychoactive realm, if you will.
Dan, I know food's big to you. Talk to us about some of your favorite recipes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I during that time, I actually went to cooking school in Paris. So
Wow.
that was, yeah, that was fun from, I think when I was 33 or so. And I mean, I love steak, but I actually think I'm going to record a recipe today. My famous coffee rub steak. So yeah, that's delicious. But anything that's healthy, I've gravitated towards more, let's say, the Asian side, just because again, like that's where I see like the blend of supplements and food. You should be eating with purpose. And so if you take a look at Ayurvedic and like Indian recipes, they are the most purposeful. It's not just like and I love French cuisine, right? Like more butter, more sauce. Like it's wonderful. It tastes good, and great. Now we have some research saying that butter is wonderful for you. Fantastic. I don't think baguettes, are.
Damn it.
Or cream, putting extra cream on the cake, but that's where it's like, when you're adding, turmeric and you're adding fenugreek, and fenugreek's another substance that's can help with libido and testosterone, but it also is just, it's fucking delicious, right? Like you make an amazing curry, and then also maybe it is just in my brain when I'm eating it, and I know all of the positives that are coming from these spices and this food, then it just makes me very happy. So that's where most of the foods that I'll cook, and especially that I'll cook for my friends, Indian and Thai, I find are the most nourishing. I love Japanese food. I actually worked in a 1-star Michelin in Tokyo for a little bit, so that was a lot of my training. And but then anything that's just, I mean, I love a steak, and yeah, people can take a look at my Instagram. I've got some of my recipes, my my morning breakfast I've been having almost now for, I think, 5-6 years daily, and even when I'm traveling, I'll find a way to have it. It's just now I've increased it to 5 eggs. I'm trying to bulk up a little bit, but 2 to 5 eggs, avocado, kimchi, some crushed nuts, turmeric, ground pepper, olive oil, and salt, and it's. It might sound like a lot, but it's delicious. Mix it around, and it's a great breakfast.
Damn, I'm hungry. It's lunchtime here. Yeah, I think I'll have an omelet for lunch.
Perfect.
Omelet and some kimchi.
Exactly. Yeah. Dan, I feel like we could talk for hours, but you mentioned your Instagram. Let's tell everybody where they can keep up with everything you've got going on, Instagram, any web links, things like that.
Yeah, so right now, definitely Instagram, dan.travels. The website for Sacral right now, there's not much up, but sacralchai.com. There is a little join the wait list if people are interested. And but otherwise, I'm sure within about 6 weeks we'll have something ready to go there as well.
Hey, I'm ready to order. I'm going to get on that wait list.
Amazing.
Chris has talked about it, and I'm in.
Ryan and his wife are going to have a new morning ritual.
Yes. Morning, lunch, and dinner. Well, maybe just morning and night.
We'll see how well it works. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, really appreciate you coming on, Dan, and hope we can do it again soon.
Well, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. So we'll stay in touch, I'm sure.
Hey guys, you know where to find us, thevacaypodcast.com. You'll find all the episodes from today, highlight clips, and all the links to your favorite Podcast Network. For Chris Hansen, I'm Ryan Alford. We'll see you next time on the Vacay Podcast.